30 years ago, it was known for one of humanity's darkest chapters. Today, it's where tech giants are building their African headquarters, where you could get surgery with robots, and where doing business is easier than in most European countries. So how did Rwanda pull off what seems impossible? Yes, I am talking about Rwanda, a nation that went from genocide to becoming Africa's economic miracle. But a lot of people don't know about it, and the reality is actually something very different from what you've ever thought of. So just about 2 weeks ago, I was speaking with a friend who works in the diaspora. That is, he works with Google. So he's a very brilliant engineer, and he was trying to tell me that he wants to invest in Africa. But he was so skeptical, right? Where does he even start from? Everything seems so complicated. So I didn't say anything, and instead I showed him pictures of Kigali. I sent him footages of clean streets that could make even Geneva jealous. And in those footages, you could see fiber cables everywhere, drones delivering blood to hospitals, and many more. And guess what? He couldn't believe it. What if I told you that there is an African country where you could actually start business in 6 hours? Yes, it's possible to register business in Rwanda in as less as 6 hours. They've got what they call the Rwanda Development Board. So this is a body that actually facilitates things for the citizens. So Rwanda is one of those distinct African countries where the government actually works for its people. So in a few minutes, go-getters, I will show you exactly how Rwanda cracked the code that every developing nation is trying to solve. But first, we need to understand something crucial. See, go-getters, when people say the Singapore of Africa, they are not just talking of economic growth. Singapore had no natural resources either. Small island, no oil, surrounded by bigger, more powerful neighbors. Sounds familiar? Yeah, but here's the thing. Singapore's transformation actually took decades, but Rwanda did something different, something faster, something that's making investors from Beijing to New York pay attention. Now, the real genius behind Rwanda's strategy is hidden in plain sight. And guess what, go-getters? It's something every African nation could replicate tomorrow. First, let me ask you something. What would you do if your country's entire economy collapses overnight? Now remember, in 1994, Rwanda was shattered. Not just economically, completely destroyed. Banks gone, roads destroyed, trust between people broken. And most experts said it would take generations to recover. And as if that was not enough, the World Bank even predicted decades of aid dependency. But here's where the story takes an unexpected turn. Now, Paul Kagame and his team made a decision that seemed crazy at the time. Instead of following the traditional playbook the one that's failed across Africa for decades, they looked east. Not to Europe, not to America, but to Asia. And what they discovered there would change everything. But the real masterstroke wasn't copying Asian models. It was something far more revolutionary. While other African leaders were promising their people everything, Kagame did something different. He made one simple promise: we will work. No grand speeches about natural resources, no talks about aid, just work. But work towards what exactly? Now, go-getters, here's where it really gets interesting. Rwanda looked at its disadvantages and flipped them into advantages. No coastline? Perfect. We will become the hub that connects East to Central Africa. Small size? Great. Easier to manage. Easier to transform. But the real breakthrough came when they realized something every African nation was missing. So, while everyone else was trying to build factories and mines, Rwanda went straight to the future. They skipped entire development stages. Think about it. Why build expensive phone lines when you could go straight to mobile? And last but not the least, why build old hospitals when you can use telemedicine? Today, you can get a government service in Kigali faster than you could renew your driver's license in New York. And I'm not kidding you on this. But hey, goal-getters, here's what I want you to think about. If Rwanda could do this, why haven't other African countries? The answer to that question actually reveals something uncomfortable about African leadership. Something we really need to talk about. So here's the part that makes some people uncomfortable. Rwanda's success isn't just about economics, it's about governance. And that challenges everything we've been told about African leadership. Now, critics will tell you Rwanda's success comes at a cost. They will talk about limited political freedoms, about authoritarian governance. Yeah, goal-getter, that's actually a conversation worth having. But what those critics miss is that Rwandans have something that most Africans only dream of. A government that delivers. Roads, for instance, that don't have potholes, hospitals that actually work, and schools where children even learn for free. If you don't know, Rwanda actually has one of the highest literacy rates in Africa. This is because the government takes necessary measures to make sure that those children go to school. As a matter of fact, school in Rwanda for kids 0 to 9 years is actually free and compulsory. So here's the uncomfortable question. Would you rather have the freedom to complain about bad roads or actually have good roads? So for you to have a picture of what I'm talking about, let me quickly break down to you Rwanda's economic model. Now, Rwanda makes it stupid easy to do business. Like I said, in Rwanda, you could register a business within 6 hours and you are good to go. Secondly, the government invests in people. Like I said earlier on, Rwanda has got free primary education and healthcare insurance for everyone. The government builds infrastructure that works. Not just roads, but equally digital infrastructure. They create clusters, finance in one area, tech in another, and logistics in another. And the results, GDP growth averaging 8% for 2 decades. Extreme poverty cut from 60% to under 20%. But here's where the story gets really interesting. Remember my friend from Google I told you earlier on? We were actually having a discussion a few days ago and he made me understand that he actually decided to dive and get started with his business, all right? He actually wants to set up a tech company in Kigali. And guess what? So he actually told me that when he went for his regulations and the compliance and all the like, the government actually made it easier for him. And he noticed that it is easier to invest in Rwanda than in California, where he resides. He noticed that the Rwandan government created special programs for diaspora investments. They simplified visa processes, offered tax incentives, and in addition to that, provided business support. There's this African proverb that says, where there's a will, there's a way. And the Rwanda diaspora policy proves this perfectly. But here's what I want you to consider, goal-getters. What if every African country did this? What if Ghana, Cameroon, Nigeria, Kenya, or Congo all made it this easy for diaspora investment? The implications of that question will blow your mind. But first, let me share with you something that happened just last week. Last week, I was discussing with this potential partner who wants to join our diaper program. Talking about that, if you aren't aware, we've got a diaper project that we will be launching soon, and people are fast grabbing their seats. So if this is something that would interest you, please go to our About page and you are going to find the link to our membership there, or you can simply email us at africatodayinfo@gmail.com and we will take it from there. Now, while discussing with this Rwandan entrepreneur who has been doing business in Rwanda for some time now and is now about to expand to Congo, Uganda, and Tanzania. He told me a lot of things that confirmed these facts I just told you earlier on. And guess what? His business, drone logistics. He started in Kigali and now it is actually serving the entire region. So this is Rwanda's secret weapon. They are not just developing themselves. They are becoming the platform for regional development. But you know what, go-getters? The most shocking part of Rwanda's strategy is something they learned from their darkest hour. Something that could transform all of Africa. So here's a deep truth nobody talks about. Rwanda's economic miracle actually started with social healing. You know, after the 1994 incident, they made a radical decision. They banned ethnic divisions, legally banned them. Today, you are not Hutu or Tutsi. You are Rwandan, period. What does this have to do with economics? Everything. When people trust each other, when they trust their government, when they believe in a shared future, that's when real development happens. So this is where other African nations can learn the most important lesson. So here's the uncomfortable truth. Rwanda's model is 100% replicable. Every African country has the resources Rwanda had: smart people, determination, and problems to solve. But critics say Rwanda is small. Rwanda is homogeneous. They've got strong leadership. True. But so did Singapore, so did Dubai, so did South Korea. So the real question here, go-getters, isn't whether Rwanda's model can work somewhere else. It's whether other African leaders want it to work. Because what Rwanda really proves is something revolutionary about African potential. Something that changes everything. Rwanda isn't just becoming the Singapore of Africa. It's proving that African solutions work for African problems. They didn't wait for foreign investment to save them. They didn't depend on natural resources either. And you will notice that they didn't follow Western development models. They created their own path. So what if this is what African Renaissance actually looks like? Not grand Pan-African conferences, but countries actually working, actually delivering for their people. For a diaspora family watching this, Rwanda represents something really powerful. Proof that you can come home and build something meaningful. One diaspora investor told me that I spent 20 years building wealth in America. But in Rwanda, I can build legacy. But here's what I want you to think about tonight, go-getters. Let's take up this challenge. What if you stopped waiting for Africa to be ready for you, and instead started asking if you are ready for Africa? I want us to look at it this way. Rwanda's story teaches us something profound. African problems need African solutions, implemented by Africans who refuse to accept mediocrity. Whether you are in Atlanta, London, or Toronto, Rwanda proves that the Africa we dream of isn't just possible, it's happening. The only question left here is, will you be part of building it? The choice is yours. Next week, I'm investigating something that will shock you. We are going to look at the African country that quietly became China's most important partner. I can guarantee you that the story behind this relationship will change how you see Africa forever. So make sure you subscribe so you don't miss, right? And if you actually found value in this video, please share it with as many people as possible. For as I always say, the more we empower Africans, the greater Africa will be. That said, thanks for watching this video, and I will see you on my next one.